let's review this then. Yeah. It's a late 80s Servis Quartz, model number 6030. And I think there's a 6031 as well, which is a different colour variant. But you can let me know down below which colour variants mean to which. We've got brown, but I can't remember what the other colour was. I've got a feeling it's grey. But that also being said, I'm wondering whether it's supposed to be grey. Because this is grey. And this has been replaced. We can see it's been replaced. Especially this straw, which you can tell has been replaced because normally replacement drawer handles don't actually come with any printing on them. And I'm not talking about Servis of the 80s, I'm talking about every manufacturer now. Even today, you'll often get a replacement Hotpoint panel. You can get them from Hotpoint, right? They're very cheap, but they have no writing on them. So, yeah, I think 6030 is grey. So this is supposed to be grey, and 6031 is brown, and subsequently both are brown. But let me know down below properly what colours are supposed to be which. So I'm going to obviously not fully quote everything, but we got this anyway. This came from Servis Quartz. He had it, but it never worked. He said it was filling up with water. Once you started a wash, it wouldn't stop filling up with water, so I suppose it got up to so high. Which means it was definitely a pressure switch fault. However, after I've tinkered with the pressure switch, I got it working. It does need a new door seal as well at some point, but this one will last for now. It does look like it's hardly been used, even before Servis Quartz got the machine. Then he's obviously tried to use it and it never worked once. So yeah, but it runs pretty smooth. I have had teething problems. The door seal leaks. Well, it's actually stopped leaking now. That was the first teething problem, and I've had a few other teething problems as well. There's a random leak at the back, not necessarily from the machine, but from the pipe somewhere going to the machine. That's not actually from the pipe. Yeah, I have that. There is a leak underneath, which I think is now stopped as well. Probably more likely from the tub seal or the heater seal, since it's not been used. So, quite a lot of leaks, but they've all kind of rectified themselves. I've had an F05 error. Okay, so I had an F05 error code, as seen in my testing 71, but that only happened once, and I think the reason why is because of how this is, because it's computer controlled, there's timeouts on everything. So if something doesn't get to a certain, so like say a certain temperature within a certain amount of time, it thinks there's a fault and will fault code out. And that's exactly what happened with these. I put 4 of these in, and then selected program 9, and then selected the cool wash, which lowers it to 30 degrees. However, because it didn't get to 30 degrees within about 30 minutes, it timed out and gave up an F5 error code, which is to do with the heat circuit. There are error codes 1 to 6 basically on this machine. With F1 to do with the water temperature circuit, so more than likely that will come up either because it hasn't detected the temperature to change within the set time limit, thinks it's already at 95 straight away, or is not moving from cold at all. So that's going to come up with that. F2, the machine's going to take too long to fill. Yeah, it has a timeout on the fill, and that was really ahead of its time. Bearing in mind that this would have been carried over from the 70s Quartz as well, believe it or not. So, yeah, really far ahead. On a mechanical timer, it would just sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and ends. And if it didn't fill, it would just sit there until it filled up. Because the time just switched off, basically. No, not with this. It will time out after a predetermined time. It doesn't actually say in the manual how long, but I think it's 10 minutes. 3, machine has failed out to pump out the water Which is a bit bizarre because this machine literally doesn't give a rat's bum about how much water's left in the drum before it spins. Because it's all untimed. But I'm going to guess that if it's actually at the wash level, which is about here, and it's still there, just before it goes into spin mode, it's going to cut it out and give up this error code. Yeah, if it's anything below it, it's just going to go, yeah, fine, you can spin. For the motors running too fast or too slow, yeah, basically that's going to be a tacho magnet fail usually. And an F5 and 6 is there's a fault in the heater circuit, which, like I said, I got an F5 because it took too long to get to the set temperature. But that was my fault because I was washing too much bulky stuff in there, which had too much water absorbed, so therefore... And also the fact that it was on a program 9, which is supposed to be made for 1.8 kilograms, it would have gone, yeah, it's too much. To be fair, it's too much even at 4.1 kilograms. At 4.1 kilograms of towels, it would probably just go, yeah, no, it's fine. It would probably just about do it. Obviously, incoming water temperatures may flog up that error code. So, but bizarrely, like I said, there's 2 there. So I'm wondering F5 is going to be too long to take up to it, and F6 is going to be, well, that's bizarre actually. What would F6 be? The only thing I can think of for F6 is that there's absolutely no circuit at all, which then makes F5 a little bit, it's taking too long to heat, blah, 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 blah. Right. Dimensions of the machine. I think at this point they've actually gone to full size. Near enough. I think this is still 56 centimetres wide. Obviously 60 centimetres deep and 85 centimetres high. 56 centimetres wide meant that you got a 20mm clearance either side than normal. So if you had the 600mm cabinet opening, which is now made for your newfangled automatic washing machine, this would actually automatically give you that clearance you're supposed to have with a 600mm machine. To be fair, Servis's thinking makes sense. Movability wise, there's actually no feet. There are 4 rollers to go back and forth with. See? And you can roll it backwards and forwards. So the idea is, this was the 80s and it's in Britain, and quite a lot of people have gone from a twin tub to an automatic washing machine. It meant that they didn't actually have permanent plumbing to everything. Yeah, some people might have bought this machine and had plumbing there ready to put in, like we do in today's day. But a lot of people would have bought this machine and they would have had to pull this machine out, connect it to the tap with a special adapter and hook the hose into the sink and use it that way. Subsequently, the mains cable is quite long on it as well. By the way, also 4 rollers, I was expecting it to move a lot more. But it hasn't. It hasn't moved at all once since I've been using it. Right. So there you go. There's a bit of an intro there. Right. These are also known as the full panel doors. And that's because the door goes from here to here. Which is a bit annoying because, of course, that means when you're opening the door, right, you've got to have 560mm clearance in front of you, as well as the fact that you've got 560mm over here. So you need a total of nearly 1200mm from the depth of the machine to where you're opening the door. On the plus side though, this door will go 180 degrees, but I can't do that because we've got a wall here. But even if you did, I suppose a bit of a bonus, getting stuff in and out. Not that the porthole's very big. Yeah, that's tiny. And that's not glass, that's plastic. Plastic. So, turn it on, push that in. We've got a proper on-off ratchet switch behind there. All these buttons though work off a PCB. Yeah, this is the 80s. And they work well. I love this design of the buttons, by the way. It's it looks better flush on than from where I am sat right now. But yeah. Anyway, we've got a total of 14 programs. And they're selectable by pushing this button here. I'm just going to turn that off, just show you how bright this is. So, there we go. So you press it. You can press and hold as well, like so. So this one means mix wash. E for express, quick wash. A for rinse and spin. H for high spin. L for low spin. 3 dashes, this is the test cycle. And back again. Obviously 0 means nothing selected. So what we do, to use time delay, we have to press and hold time delay first before we select our program. So let's say we select this, 3 hours, then select program 1, 2, and then if we press start then, yeah, we're now in time delay mode here. So it'll go from 3 to H, 3 to H, and that will count down, then 2H, 1H, and then eventually, when it starts the program, it'll go to 2 will be lit. Right. Press and cancel. You press and hold cancel for 3 seconds to cancel a program. Also, once it's in 0 mode or any other mode, by pressing cancel, right, whilst the door's shut, you'll automatically always use the drain pump by pushing it. Right, so program 1, we'll go through the options next. Well, I'll give you an example with Bio on what BioWash does. What Bio option does is it will first heat to 30, wash for 10 minutes, and then we'll continue to heat. Let me give you an example as well of what that does. So if we select program 1, right, if we don't use Bio, it will fill with hot water only, right, and then we'll heat to 95, then wash for 15 minutes. If you select Bio, what that does will it will use hot and cold water mixed to get towards 30 degrees. It will then heat to 30 degrees. It will then wash for 10 minutes. It will then continue to heat to 95, and then we'll wash for 15 minutes. So essentially what Bio can and will do is extend the wash slightly on certain programs. What Cool Wash will do is that it will reduce the temperature of any program to 30 degrees and then will multiply the wash length of the program by 4. What Pre-Wash does is that it will fill with cold, heat to 30, wash for 10 minutes and then drain before going on to the main wash. Programs 1, 2, 3 and 9 will just use a hot fill only on their main wash, whereas programs 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, multi-fabric and the express wash will take in hot and cold together. And that's because with hot and cold it will get towards 30 degrees before it commences washing, saving time and a little bit of energy. The other thing that it will also do is on pre-wash only, it will just take in pure cold. That's because the hot is only directed to the main wash. Right, so because pre-wash heats with cold only, it means that it can be a little bit longer than, say, normal Bio instead. Bio is there for your new-fangled biological detergents, like Ariel and Bold Free. But it's a bit hopeless in today's world because nowadays they all work at 20-30 degrees anyway. But back then it was a case of heat to 30, allow the enzymes in that biological detergent to work the magic, and then heat to the remaining temperature where the enzymes are more likely to die off. Right, if I make sure this is on 0 and I select pre-wash and then press start, it will actually do a full pre-wash. Pre-wash only, yeah. So you can select pre-wash and then select any cycle you want afterwards. Or you can add the pre-wash to any cycle anyway, apart from woolens, of course. Although interestingly, you can just like add on options even with 0. I'll have to explore this. Half load is there to be selected, and what that will run is a lower rinse level on all the cycles. It will also lower the wash level as well back to a normal level if it runs at a high level. All the Quartz programs run to the normal wash level here and a rinse level around here. So selecting half load will still run the same wash level, but the rinses will also only come up to here now instead. Of course, half load's there for washing half a load of cottons. So the max load is 4 kilograms. So use half load if you're washing 2 kilograms or less. Then we've got rinse hold, which will, of course, mean that at the end of the final rinse, instead of going to final spin, it will hang around and the rinse 3 light will start flashing. In fact, I've never actually used it, so I'm going to demonstrate it a little bit in this video. Then obviously door opens the door. One single dash meaning the door is open. Also, like I've just shown you here, once you start selecting options, you can't actually deselect them. So if you select the wrong options, you have to hit cancel first and then reset it, or open the door and reset it. That's of course if you've selected the wrong options. Alright, that's what the options do. Door and economy, we covered that. So, alright, go through it. Cotton, program 2, colour fast cotton at 60. These use all the ICTL codes, of course. So you go off the label on your garments. Washes at 60, of course, and washes for 10 minutes. As well as 3 rinses and a fast spin of 1000 RPM. The fast spin lasts for 4 minutes. Program 3 is white nylon at 60. What this will do is allow you to wash 1.8 kilograms or 4 pounds. Use half load if you're washing 2 pounds or less, or 0.9 kilograms. And this allows you to wash at 60 degrees and washes for 10 minutes. Again, all these cycles do 3 rinses. And you all do intermediate spins as well. The intermediate spins on cottons will go up to 1000 RPM, while the nylon cycles will do intermediate spins at 600 RPM. The final spin on the white nylon is also 600 RPM, but it only runs for 20 seconds. It's the same as an intermediate spin, basically. Program 4 is 50 degrees coloured nylon and polyester. Again, washes for 10 minutes during the wash stage, once it's hit at 50. It's pretty much the same as white nylon, only it's 50. Program 5 is non-colour fast cottons at 40. I believe it heats to 40 and then will wash for 5 minutes. Obviously do 3 rinses and a final fast spin at 1000 RPM for 4 minutes. Then we've got program 6 is acrylics and delicates. Heats to 40, then washes for 5 minutes. And obviously has a final spin of 600 RPM for 20 seconds. Program 7 is 40 degree wool and wool mixtures that are labelled as machine washable at 40 degrees. This is a very gentle action. I think it's static heats to 40 and then we'll wash, I think it's for 10 minutes, obviously at gentle action. Also does 3 rinses with intermediate spins though, gentle action, and it will do a final spin, I think 1000 RPM, I think for 2 minutes instead. Program 8 is 30 degree silk, acetate and new denim, which washes at 40 according to the manual. Yeah. Yeah, even I was surprised by that. It says 40 degrees. It washes for 5 minutes, but I've not actually used the program yet. So I'm not exactly sure what it does, but it will obviously end with a short spin at 600 RPM. Because essentially, 6 and 8 are right now the exact same program. Interestingly, even on program 8, you can still select all the options, and that is why this runs at 40, because Cool Wash can still be selected. But because Cool Wash can be selected, it can also do a 20-minute wash instead of having 5. So, if you work it correctly, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then program 9 is special white cottons. To be honest, we don't have special white cottons anymore. I believe it's something to do with linen cotton rather than normal cotton. Stuff like tablecloths, I believe, and stuff like that. So it needs a hot wash to keep them white. But of course they are, despite being made of cotton, they have the special finish. In other words, this is actually part of the nylon cycles. So again, max load 1.8 kilo, £4. You can have a half load as normal. You can have a cool wash, you can have bio, you can have pre-wash. And it runs a short spin of 600 RPM at the end of the cycle. Then we've got mixed load, multi-fabric at 30 degrees. Right, again, bizarre one. This can be used in multiple ways according to the manual. So it does a 4-hour soak with tumbles every 10 minutes according to the manual. So what this will do, you can either use it as an extended pre-wash, a long pre-wash, because it will fill, heat to 30, and then will soak for 4 hours, up to 4 hours. And you can advance at any point, go on and do rinses and the final spin. If you don't cancel after 4 hours, it will do those rinses and spin. You can use the soak stage for as long as you want. You can use it as a cool soak for your whites. So the same, basically, instead of using 95 whites, use mix load first, then wash as normal on program 5 afterwards. Yeah, save yourself some energy. And subsequently, you can just also just use it as a mix wash overnight cycle, taking advantage of Econ 7. Yeah. With this, you can have bio, you can pre-wash, you can have bio, you can have half load and cool wash. But yeah, according to the manual, you can't have bio, which is a bit bizarre. And yet you can select it there. That's the thing. Some of these options you can select. Let me just show you. So program 7 doesn't have any options according to manual. And indeed the right. What? But yeah, you can have everything on multi-fabric. You can have cool wash on multi-fabric. I do not want a 16-hour wash, thanks. I'd so try that. Program E is 30 degree quick wash in approximately 30 minutes. And I tried it, it was about 32 minutes. Obviously, everything depends on your water coming in. So basically, this heats to 30, has a very short wash stage, and then does 2 rinses, yeah, followed by a fast final spin at 1000, but it uses the wool spin, of course, so it only spins to 1000 RPM for 2 minutes. Right, you can add in the pre-wash, but you can't have bio according to the manual. But yeah, you can still select it. But you are allowed all the other options. Why would you be allowed cool wash? Oh yeah, it extends it by 4, doesn't it? Yeah, it just says you can only have bio and a half load. We can have bio and a half load. We've got half load. That makes sense with half load. it is then supposed to shorten the cycle ever so slightly. But to have bio, so you're going to heat, wash, and then heat, and then wash again, because it will already be still at 30. Interesting. I find it interesting that the manual states options that can be selected for your machine on the program, only for the actual machine to say, yeah, you can have them. You can select pre-wash though on E. Now, is this going to run the pre-wash, or is it going to do what like the spin programs do here, where it will actually reduce the spin from 1,000 and just do a short 600 spin instead? And what does cool wash do? Does that actually do anything, or will it actually multiply the wash by 4? I'm not tested it out yet, but it's something to think about. By the way, selecting, say, the cool wash on multi-fabric isn't going to do a 16-hour soak, but because there is a wash stage for 10 minutes, it will more than likely multiply that by 4. A is rinse and fast spin. This will do the final rinse of the cottons program, followed by a 4-minute spin. If you want a short, slow spin at 600 RPM, you have to hit pre-wash. You can select the half load option, which will obviously lower the water level, and you can select rinse hold if you want as well. You can also select these two options, which don't do anything. Right, then we got H, which is high spin or fast spin for normal fabrics at 1000 RPM for 4 minutes. No options available. Program L is gentle spin for delicate fabric, or a 20 seconds 600 spin to drip dry your delicate fabrics. Again, no options are available. Then we've got test cycle. Right. Right, pull the drawer out. Yeah, it's not clean. And yeah, this is Lenore fabric softener, and it's stained everything. Anyway, so we got our detergent drawer. It's quite long. It certainly comes out by a good 14 inches or so. That's our little spigot for our fabric softener. What's quite cool is like everything's actually labelled up. So we've got pre-wash, main wash, then fabric softener. We've also got a red tab there. You push that to one side, and then that will pull the drawer at the same time, and that will come out. Serial number there. Something else I forgot to explain as well. So we've got the wear on the door seal, but there's no mould. And actually, despite this here, the actual door seal itself is in pretty good condition actually. No cracking or anything like that. The other thing you notice is this drum. Yeah. And you'll notice something else too. Now, washing machines are supposed to have holes in, right? Well, this does, but they're here at the back and at the front. There's a little like groove here that basically means that everything's got a slant that way or that way. Our drum paddles are bolted in. Look at that. So this drum is called a spin care drum, manufactured by Servis. and it didn't really have a very long run. The principal problem is the fact that because there's actually no holes, it makes the drum a bit too rigid, and I believe, but you can let me know down below, those who do know a lot more about this machine and these machines, but I believe they exploded for some reason, because there is no holes. Yeah, the whole idea of the spin care drum, if you notice, because they're very narrow and sort of long like that, it prevents snagging of clothes. It's also supposed to be yeah, because of course the old hole would pull, especially like say towels and stuff, the fibres will come through those holes and could snag on things like the heater underneath. By having the much smaller holes like this, basically no holes at all, that means on spin it reduces that snagging or stops it altogether. In effect, yeah, it works, and surprisingly it spins rather well. You have to press start then? Might be start. Because it's on rinse hole mode.
Yeah, press start.
Right, so what to give this out of 10 then? Well, it's British made, British built, fairly reliable. They weren't really known to have that many proper issues with the machines, other than going through either motors or brushes, thanks to the fact that it just spins up straight away. The spin care drum itself wasn't fitted to all of these. Some of them had the normal drum. If you had the normal drum, you're fine. If you had a spin care drum, it might have gone a bit bang, might have exploded a bit. I love the programming of these machines, but spin performance actually on the spin care drum I think is slightly better from memory than the normal. Not by much, but it is better. Even as a 1,000 spin machine from the late 80s, this is very good compared to other machines of the time. So, yeah. Downsides though, that this whole, whole panel door, as I like to call it, or full panel door, makes it really awkward to load and unload, especially the fact that your porthole it's tiny. Now this is really kind of bit behind, I suppose, in terms of size. It's certainly one of the smallest portholes on the market ever. Yeah, it certainly feels like it. I like the ease of repair and stuff like that. It's actually quite easy to get at everything. There's a filter inside the sump, but it's quite easy to get at. Because you're on rollers, you can just tilt it back and, well, there you go. You've got at it. And also, because it runs on a PCB with a ribbon cable, bear in mind the proper wires in this ribbon cable, it's actually quite easy to work on in that sense as well. You have a ribbon cable going up to the top panel, then goes down to a main board, like a modern machine. You don't have to worry about plugging the right wire into the right terminal onto your controller. You don't have to worry about that. There's not 100 wires all scattered about, waiting to get damaged. There might be the ribbon cable itself waiting to get damaged, but because of how it's all set up, it should never get damaged. This is why Servis was actually quite good. British Servis was very good. So what to give this out of 10 then? Well, the only downsides with it, a couple of downsides, is washing ability isn't brilliant, but it's a lot better than Hotpoint at the time. Maybe on par with Hoover, maybe not quite there. Certainly not up there with AEG and Miele, but it never was. In terms of British machines and Italian machines, this is better at washing than a lot of them, but certainly not compared to the German machines. Rinsing ability. Now, this is one of the very few machines at all that does just 3 rinses on the cottons and the synthetic cycle with intermediate spins. Yeah. Which meant that technically it saved a bit more water than normal because it did 3 high water level rinses instead of 4 or 5 compared to its competitors. So it didn't use as much water in that sense. But because it spins up straight up to 1,000 or 600, depending what cycle you're on those intermediate spins, it doesn't drain properly. Yeah, and usually suzzlocks quite badly. The other thing as well, I've noticed, is the time between it draining and the start of the spin. Even when it's empty, it literally starts to spin just as the last of the water is leaving the drum. With an empty drum. It could have just done with a little bit longer to drain, or give them that time to drain. I suppose it's possibly working off the pressure switch in some way, but that isn't great. There's a lot of flaws that Servis made with this machine, but overall it is an excellent machine actually. Like, if this was given me as a daily, I'd much rather this as a daily machine than, let's say, a Hotpoint. Even the micro profile, the 1300 version of this, I think, is better than the 1300 micro profile. Only by slightly, simply because with the micro profile, yes, you get heavy and light soil, which affects the temperature slightly, but this is much more intuitive. You want a normal wash cycle, just, it's like whatever you want and press start. You want a slightly longer wash cycle, press bio. You want a cool wash cycle, press cool wash. You want to add a pre-wash to it, add a pre-wash, and do a proper length pre-wash as well. No messing about. Half an hour or so to do a pre-wash. You want cool wash to it and it's up to an hour. How brilliant is that? In that sense, I actually think it's better kitted out than the Hotpoint micro profile. Or the Hoovers, or anything that was also electronic at the time. This simply gave you a little bit more for less money, may I add. Yeah, this is cheaper than the micro profile. Let me know down below in the actual comments what they were in the catalogues, say Argos or whatever, or Currys, whatever they were, these prices. But I'm sure that the micro profile was always around £469, and this was less than 400. I got something like 389. Not for the 1,000, for the 1,300. For the 1,000, I think it was less than £350. But let me know down below. So, taking everything into consideration, this, to a degree, is going to get, it's quite generous as well, 9 out of 10. Whether that's actually, whether you agree with me, let me down below. I still would probably rather the Zanussi jet system over this, but I would probably prefer this over the micro profile. Yeah, the micro profile took a long time to wash anything, even on the light soil setting. Talking of which, I will do a review of a micro profile in the future. So, anyway, want to see that? Don't forget to comment down below, give us a like, subscribe for more washing machine content, and I'll see you in another video. So, bye for now.